My name is Andre Dukes, Vice President of Family and Community Impact here at the Northside Achievement Zone. So the fact that we have a Black History Month speaks to the importance of Black history. Black history is not just American history, it is world history. And it is so important that people have gone to great lengths to try to hide that history. And so for me, it is so important and critical to the generations of folks that, I am privileged to work with on a daily basis. When we work with scholars, their identity and them being able to see themselves in history is really critical to their lifelong success. My family originated in Mississippi, and in most homes in Mississippi, you would find two pictures on the wall. One of Jesus Christ, the other one of Martin Luther King Jr. And so Martin Luther King Jr. has always been my inspiration. He was killed before I was born, but I always wondered about his life and who he was as a person, and did a lot of studying of his legacy, and really began to model myself after him. And as I thought about the things that I wanted to do in life, and just him being a minister, I wanted to be a minister. I wanted to help people. I wanted to champion causes that mattered. And his views on beloved community is really how I live my life. I just believe that we all have a place in community, and we have to embrace and acknowledge the value and the authenticity that we bring to beloved community. So Black people throughout history have made major contributions to civilization, and that history is often not seen in our school systems. It is not celebrated in our media. And so, there's so much more that we can do as a society to uphold all of the contributions that Africans and African Americans have made to just the freedoms that we experience today, the way that we function as a society in civilization. You go back to, the first civilizations were African people. And that history, is so important for us to really understand and appreciate why we are here today and how we got here. Black history is American history. It is world history again. And when we look at, the fact that, people came from a land that they inhabited for thousands of years and were captured and brought to a land that they were not familiar with, stripped of their language, stripped of their culture, stripped of their identity, yet persevered through Jim Crow and civil rights and so many things that were meant to harm them and destroy them as a society. You just see the resilience, not just of African people, but of American people, because I think that is built into the DNA of who we are as a nation. And oftentimes we don't get to hear those stories. We don't get to celebrate those stories, but it is literally a part of the DNA of American society. Yeah, I think we can, really be intentional about studying African and African American history, just going to the library and getting books, books that, have faces of Black folks. You'll be surprised when you open those books and you hear the literary histories of African and African American people. It's an inspirational story, for anyone that would be interested and want to learn more. I also think that, just seeing images of African people and African American people really speaks to the identity development of children. Representation matters, and to be able to see yourself contributing meaningfully to society in multiple ways really just does something to our esteem and our confidence. And so it's critical for children to be exposed to, images that of themselves doing great things and being in positions of power. when we talk about representation, representation is about power. And so when we can see and acknowledge African people being in those positions and in those spaces, it just really changes how children and generations look and feel about themselves. Yeah, I can remember, the first time I watched the movie Roots, and that was really my introduction into the history of slavery that impacts our society. And prior to that, growing up in Minnesota, I really, had no understanding of, racism or implicit bias or I wasn't thinking about, I was a kid. And so everyone was my friend. And so it just speaks to how racism is really a construct that is meant to divide us. But once I did, start to look into it, it gave me a greater appreciation for myself. And understanding that, my people that look like me have come through many challenges and overcome those challenges to continue to contribute meaningfully to society, and that we continue to want to reach out to other people that don't look like us, other nationalities and races of people, and try to find common ground. I think, what makes me so proud to be an African American is that we love people. We are communal people. We love to be in space, and we are concerned about the well-being of all people. And that's something to celebrate on a daily basis.